Hey folks, welcome back to Eclectic Movie Reviews and Updates, and this is the part 2 to my summer first time watches of summer 2023 uh and video. And so I'm going to uh do a I'm continuing from where I left off from last time. As you know, it's alphabetical, and then at the end, I'm gonna give awards, so you know. Uh, so next up is I Wish from 2011, directed by Hirokazu Koreeda, and this film is centered on two brothers, Koichi and Ryunosuke, and their parents are separated. They live in two separate cities. They want to reunite, and then the two devise a plot to unify their family again. And in doing so, they form a friendship with other kids who also have their own special wishes they hope to be granted. Koreeda takes a humanistic look at divorce, at the effects of divorce, where neither party is portrayed as bad. I mean, the parents aren't really the focus of the film, it's the kids, but still. But regardless of whether or not their parents are together, the boys still have their bond, and they have they have special bonds with their friends, and that's the true miracle that they discover. If you want to watch an uplifting, light-hearted coming-of-age story, then I highly recommend you watch I Wish. It's one of those movies that makes you appreciate the small things in life as miracles and feel grateful just to be alive. I Wish is streaming for free on YouTube and Tubi. I would love to see this get added to the Criterion collection, or even their new Janus Contemporaries titles. Next up is Night of the Hunter from 1955, written and directed by Charles Laughton, based on the novel by, I just want to see the name of the author. Yes. So directed by Charles Laughton, written by James Agee, and their contributions by Charles Laughton, but surprised it says uncredited, and the novel was by Davis Grubb. So, Night of the Hunter. This movie is a masterpiece. This is not a film you can place in any particular genre box. It's a film noir with dark fairy tale elements. Robert Mitchum plays a preacher named Harry Powell. Well, it's more of a facade he puts on. He's a serial killer on the side. Part-time preacher, full-time serial killer. In the beginning, we see him doing time for 30 days after getting arrested for stealing a car. His cellmate's name is Ben Harper, who is in for bank robbery of $10,000. And Harper and his two kids, John and Pearl, agreed never to disclose the secret of where that money is kept. And Robert Mitchum's character pressures Harper to do so in a threatening way. Harper is hung, and Robert Mitchum's character's penitentiary time is completed. Powell ends up pursuing a waitress named Willa, and she happens to be Ben Harper's widow. And the two married, John and Pearl, are suspicious of Mr. Powell. As one would think from the description I gave thus far, Robert Mitchum tries to find out from John and Pearl where the money is. He terrorizes the children, and it is up to them to protect themselves. Although it is not directly a horror with literal monsters, I felt an ethereal quality reminiscent of German expressionist films such as Nosferatu, Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, and even Vampire. If we're looking at the Night of the Hunter as a Grimm's fairy tale, then Robert Mitchum's character is sort of like the monster they have to take down, a la Hansel and Gretel. It's, one film this actually reminded me of while watching was actually The Power of the Dog, from 2 years ago, because youth are put in a predicament where they have to combat a larger-than-life existential threat. Granted, Robert Mitchum is more of a literal threat than Benedict Cumberbatch's character in The Power of the Dog, but you get the idea. Robert Mitchum probably gives my favorite performance of his here, and Shelley Winters is also great as the mother. But it's the child actors who are the true heart of this film. They're ultimately what keep you hooked because they face the highest stakes, and this was sadly the only film that Charles Laughton directed. It wasn't received favorably when it came out, and it was a major flop. But I'm glad that it has since been reevaluated as an essential classic, and it's no wonder that many filmmakers have cited it as an important influence for them. I could definitely see how this could have influenced Guillermo del Toro, and he I believe he on YouTube you could find like a mini commentary of his about it, and well, when he made Nightmare Alley, it was which is of course a remake of from I believe it's from the Nightmare, the original Nightmare Alley from the 40s. Nightmare Alley, 1947, yes. Which, you know, of course, is a noir. He said that this is his first film without monsters, but the only monsters are the humans, and that's kind of like here. Robert Mitchum's character, as I said, is the essential monster. And in in the video of Guillermo del Toro talking about Night of the Hunter, he talks about a scene where Shelley Winters' character is in the water, and he says it just looks like a painting, and he said that like that kind of shot is so hard to do. William Friedkin, who I will get to later, cites this as the scariest movie he's ever seen. And yeah, so that's all I have to say about Night of the Hunter. It's just brilliant. It's available to watch on Criterion Blu-ray. It's available on Criterion Blu-ray, and it's on Tubi and Pluto TV, and I believe you can watch it on YouTube. Yeah, so that's Night of the Hunter. And now I'm gonna go lighter next. Only You from 1994, directed by Norman Jewison. This is a romantic comedy starring Marissa Tomei, Robert Downey Jr., Bonnie Hunt, and Fisher Stevens. At 11 years old, Faith and her brother Larry play a game of Ouija board, and she asks the name of the man she's destined to be with. His name, according to the Ouija board, is Damon Bradley. And then a couple years later, she's told at a carnival that her soulmate's name is Damon Bradley. Cut to Faith as an adult. Having never met this Damon Bradley fellow, she's soon to marry a podiatrist. It turns out that this podiatrist's high school friend, Damon Bradley, is vacationing in Venice, Italy. And it's funny I bring that up because the Venice Film Festival is going on right now. So Faith and her sister-in-law / best friend, Kate, played by Bonnie Hunt, travel to Venice together to seek out Damon Bradley. And there's no such luck in finding him. And Marissa Tomei comes across Robert Downey Jr.'s character, Peter Wright. And it's really sweet. Robert Downey Jr. is super charming here. He's got perfect line delivery. Marissa Tomei actually looks really beautiful with a short pixie cut. It would be nice to see her return to that hairstyle. I've always loved Bonnie Hunt, whether she's on screen and stuff or doing voices in animated films, because she did a lot of voices in Pixar movies. I also love Fisher Stevens as Marissa Tomei's brother. He's just I love him. I loved him on Succession, and I loved him in Asteroid City, and I love him in this. And he's just such a great character actor. And I won't ruin it, of course, but the twist of who Damon Bradley actually is very clever and funny. And when you discover the truth, it totally clicks. Only You is not available to stream for free, but you can rent it for a couple dollars on Amazon and see if it's at your library. I could see this being a Kino release. ultimately I would like it to be. It's a good one. So that's Only You. Next up is Passport to Pimlico from 1949, directed by Henry Cornelius, screenplay by T.E.B. Clarke. Henry Cornelius, he okay, so this is one of the Ealing Studios pictures, and Ealing was this studio in in uh the uh in the UK. They were a distributor. They're a film from like they did a lot of stuff like the 40s and 50s, and they they distributed some films. They had films of I don't know if they were a distributor production company, but they had the films of Alexander McKendrick and Charles Crichton and Henry Cornelius, who also directed Genevieve and Next to No Time, The Galloping Major, and T.E.B. Clarke wrote the screenplays to a lot of Ealing Studios films, including The Titfield Thunderbolt, directed by Charles Crichton, The Lavender Hill Mob, also directed by Charles Crichton, and Hue and Cry, also Charles Crichton, but this is Henry Cornelius, his direction with his screenplay. And so the story of The Passport to Pimlico is set in post-World War II in a community of London called Pimlico. And an exploded ordnance or bomb finally combusts, and the remnant of which is a secret cellar holding coins, jewelry, art, and a special document. This manuscript happens to be a charter from the late King Edward the Fourth. It's IV Fourth. I know this is embarrassing. I'm looking up the Roman. Yes, I was correct. The Fourth. Granted to the last Duke of Burgundy when he lived there, while people assumed he was dead after the 1477 Battle of Nancy. Given that the charter was never rescinded, the community is lawfully a portion of Burgundy, and the people of Pimlico declare themselves an independent country. When British politicians intervene trying to prevent such action, the people of Pimlico, now the Burgundians, ultimately rise up. It turns out that the Pimlico people / Burgundians are not as prepared to operate a country as they initially believed. It's a sharply original socio-political satire, and although it's a commentary on the state of political affairs, it's actually pretty humanistic. This very conflict is the thing that brings the people of Pimlico closer together as a community as they understand their limitations. It has a great cast, including Stanley Holloway, Margaret Rutherford, Charles Hawtrey, Barbara Murray, Jane Hilton, and more. I don't think it's streaming for free anywhere, but I rented a Film Movement Blu-ray. I don't know if there are any left that you can purchase, but like see if it's at a library or get an interloan like I always do. But this would be great, fantastic if this got a Kino or Indicator release or Criterion. I would like to see Criterion put out more Ealing films. I believe Kino has, it's right, their rights issues and stuff. But yeah, that's Passport to Pimlico. Next up is, again, we're gonna go goofy. From 1990, Rockula. Dean Cameron, who was Chainsaw in Summer School, and he was in Ski School. He plays a kind-hearted 400-year-old virgin vampire named Ralph. A long time ago, his lover was killed by a jealous, pegged-like pirate who wanted to be with her too. Basically, Ralph's relationship with her is put under a cyclic curse in which she is reborn only to be killed again every Halloween in front of Ralph's eyes by this peg-leg pirate. Cut to 1990. Ralph is ready to finally break this cycle and save her once and for all. What's funny about this is that he lives with his mother Phoebe, played by the singer Toni Basil, and he has a mirror alter ego whom he talks to in the mirror. And it's pretty hilarious. And in this life, the girl of his dreams has been reincarnated as Mona. Ralph meets Mona at a bar one night. She's a singer, and then he tries to win her heart by becoming a rock star himself. And then he and Mona even collaborate musically. It's very funny and creative. It's perfect for Halloween, and it's perfect for Valentine's Day. And yeah, I found out about this movie through Brian Sauer on the Pure Cinema podcast when they were talking about like video store discoveries and stuff, and this came up. Yeah, if you want a fun rock musical, and with horror, then yeah, then watch Rockula. It's very funny and creative. It's available to watch on YouTube, Tubi, and Amazon Prime. Moving on now, next to Rolling Thunder from 1977, directed by John Flynn. And screenplay by Paul Schrader, and I know that there's another Paul Schrader and Haywood Gould. Yes. That was correct. So when Vietnam War Major Charles Rain, played by William Devane, who let's see what else he was in. He was Janeway and Marathon Man, and he was in the Knots Landing TV show. So anyway, Charles Lane, when he returns home, a group of thugs hungry for Charles's silver dollars invade his home, and then Charles's family is killed and he loses his hand. Charles and his combat pal Johnny, played by Tommy Lee Jones, hunt down these thugs for justice, and William Devane and Tommy Lee Jones give great performances. Linda Haynes is also really good as the girlfriend that William Devane's character forms a relationship with. And Sally, she passed away this July, and I don't really have much else to say about Rolling Thunder. It's not only a great revenge flick, but it's a fantastic character study exploring PTSD issues. And I love the buddy dynamic between William Devane and Tommy Lee Jones. And I think that's a testament to Paul Schrader and Haywood Gould's screenplay. I've been on sort of a Paul Schrader kick recently. Oh, I forgot to mention, when I was talking about Chilly Scenes of Winter, Mary Beth Hurd, she's married to Paul Schrader. And sadly, she's been struggling with Alzheimer's for the past couple years. Thoughts and prayers to her. Yeah. And what's funny is there's a scene in Chilly Scenes of Winter where John Hurd's character asks if she's seeing someone, and she's saying, "I'm seeing a taxi driver." And what's funny is Paul Schrader wrote Taxi Driver. So, yeah, that's what I have to say about that. And then finally, I decided to save this one for last. Sorcerer, another movie from 1977. Wait, was Rolling Thunder? Yes, Rolling Thunder was 77. Sorcerer, directed by William Friedkin. My brother called this movie the best movie he'd never seen. He texted me one night saying, "Oh my god, it's amazing." And so I rented the Blu-ray, and through Interloan. Watched it, and I agree. It is a masterwork. The plot, at least on paper, is straightforwardly simple. Four men from different circumstances, played by Roy Scheider, Bruno Cremier, Francisco Rabal, and Amadou, are put in a scenario where their only route of escape is driving two trucks carrying dynamite. And, they got to put their differences aside, and, it's survival. It's a survival story, and the scenery of South America is epically gorgeous. This was shot by Dick Bush, who shot two of Ken Russell's films, Tommy and Mahler. He also shot Phase 4 and Victor Victoria, and the other accredited cinematographer was John M. Stevens. I don't know what else he shot. The production designer, John Box, did the production design for Lawrence of Arabia, Dr. Zhivago, and Rollerball. And this is actually based off of The Wages, a French film, which also based off of a novel called The Wages of Fear. Yes, I am correct about that. And Sorcerer has some of the best editing I have ever seen. The sound work is excellent too. And the sound was its only Oscar nomination, which is too bad because it deserved much more. But when Sorcerer came out in 1977, it opened really close to Star Wars, and it unfortunately flopped. But I'm glad it has been rediscovered over the past couple of years, especially now with the passing of William Friedkin, who is really just a legendary filmmaker. And Sorcerer is not available for stream for free. You can rent it for a couple $dollars on Amazon. And as I said, there's also a Blu-ray. Really, really recommend this one. Sorcerer, it is fantastic. So, yeah. Now, let me get to the awards portion. Now, just so you know, some of the films I'm going to mention that I'm giving awards to, I did not talk about in the video, but I'm not going to give, too deep, explanations about them. If I, only because, to save up on time. So, for Best Sound, it's also my winner for editing, too. If you didn't guess it by what I said about it, Sorcerer from 1977. For Best Makeup, Freaked from 1993. For Best Costume Design, Space is the Place from 1974. For Best Production Design, back to Paul Schrader. Mishima, A Life in 4 Chapters from 1985. For Best Cinematography, I'm going with Meitawan from 1987. Directed by John Sayles. Cinematography by Haskell Wexler. Oh. And, I forgot to should I give, maybe I should give the names of the production designers and costume designers for, alright, bear with me here. Freaked makeup artist. Alright. It says that there's a lot of makeup artists on Freaked. I don't know if I want to list them all. Alright, Space is the Place. Directed by John Coney. This is my costume design winner. And see who did the costumes. No, I don't want to look at Super Beats, Amazon. All right. Jim Percival and William S. Jones were the costume designers on Space is the Place. And then Mishima, A Life in Four Chapters, production designer. Iko Ishioka. Oh. And then, best child performances. I'm giving it to the entirety of the I Wish cast. For best adapted screenplay, I'm giving it to Forbidden Games from 1952. And let me read the screenwriting credits here. The novel was written by Francois Boyer, and the credited screenwriters Pierre Bost, Jean Arienche, René Clement, of course, the director, and Francois Boyer actually helped with the dialogue, it says. And for original screenplay, T.E.B. Clarke for Passport to Pimlico. For Best Supporting Actress, I'm giving it to Rosie Perez for Fearless, 1993. For Best Supporting Actor, I'm giving it to Willem Dafoe for William Friedkin's To Live and Die in L.A., 1985. For Best Lead Actress, Carol Kane for Hester Street from 1975. Really amazing performance. Best Lead Actor, if you didn't guess it, John Hurd for Chilly Scenes of Winter, 1979. For Best Acting Ensemble, Antonia's Line from 1995. For Best Director, Christiane Segvasks, I can't pronounce her name right, for Blood Tea and Red String from 2006. And Best Picture, I'm going to give it to Night of the Hunter from 1955, directed by Charles Lawton. So, that's it. That's my summer discoveries of 2023 videos, because 2 parts, and the awards. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more of my content, click the like button and subscribe. The links to my socials are in the description below. I also have poetry on Instagram and TikTok. Thank you for watching. I hope everyone had a wonderful summer, because I sure did. And I hope everyone has an amazing fall. And fall festivals are in motion now. I'm excited about that. Award season's kicking in, so I'll be doing seeing not only the stuff being released this fall, but also old films to pair them with, and to do awards for discoveries, you know what I mean. So yeah, once again, thanks for watching. Goodbye for now.